everybody, it's Sabrewolf, and I am back in Guild Wars 2. We're currently going through the beta testing of some of the new skills and seeing how they pair with some of the profession versions that we have already in the game. The first one I'm going to go over is the Guardian. Now, the Guardian is actually able to use pistols this time, so let's dive into the game and see what that's like, shall we? And as always, make sure you follow me on those medias right there, which is twitch.tv/SaberWolfGaming, that's 2 M's at gaming, or the cut down versions like this video are available on YouTube at SaberWolf18. So we have our Guardian here. Now this is a PvP generated beta because again you have to go into the beta section to do this in. Now this is the #1 weapon add-on for any of the professions that were put into the game here. The double pistols really intrigue me, and I've always liked the double pistols back when there was the Thief. Was able to do it with the Daredevil combo that I had, which I could basically unlimitedly spam just multi-shot like all the time. But that is not the case here, unfortunately, because they actually nerfed it. But I actually am interested in where we go from here for this. Now, unfortunately, I did not know that I had to load back into LA before I got into the PvP arena area. So we'll be right back in a second.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
And we're back up. So unfortunately, the game basically deletes your entire build when you load out, which is kind of annoying. So we're gonna have to go everything from scratch and rebuild everything up, so we should basically have what we need. I will recommend that for the gear, try to find some condition damage and vitality, because the dual pistols is all about burning your targets down, all about the conditions of burning, bleeding, stuff like that. So I recommend some sort of vitality, condition, power kind of thing to do with your build. You don't really need toughness or anything because you're actually a ranged character when you're kind of doing the pistols. And excuse me, how I'm using the pistols is also going with the Firebrand to switch over the tomes to become a support character. So you're already at range with the pistols, and then you can switch to a support kind of style role and then fulfill doing some damage, doing some healing, stuff like that, and kind of go about back and forth between the two as you go through the game. Now, basically you're having Radiance, Zeal, and Firebrand. Now, Firebrand's basically built on axes. However, I am doing it with pistols because it does loop in some of the burning aspects they were trying to do. Plus, it increases the abilities on your secondary section. So the Radiance gives you the blind, so gain light aura, blind nearby enemies when you activate a virtue skill, which is fine. But this is really the core is. It's the inner fire. Gain fury when you strike a foe that has burning stacks over the threshold. Well, you're constantly, almost all your skills are causing burning on this bar, because you also have purging flames and what's the other one? Yeah, actually, sorry, just purging flames. There is another ability that also gives you a burning, I believe, which is Signet of Judgment. Can also give you the burning condition, but we don't really need that much burning. We can actually use this one instead, which immobilizes the target instead. So I figured that would be a little more useful and kind of trap your target. Also, and the passive also increases the condition damage even more. So we're stacking all the condition damage up. Then we have the Radiant Fire. So you basically, when you critically hit an enemy, burning you inflict has increased duration. So we're increasing the duration of the burning as we're getting increased critical strikes and critical hits rather, and like that. And then attacks against burning foes has increased chance to crit. So you're bouncing back and forth between the burning and the critting ability, back and forth. So it's really good. And since you're also increasing the crit, you also might want to increase the crit damage as well. And last but not least, we have Perfect Inscriptions that improves the effects of the signets. And when you do use them, you still get the passive bonus of the increased condition damage, the improved concentration, and periodically healing yourself and the allies near you as you're fighting along. So you still get those abilities while it's in recharge. Now, you can also use Amplified Wrath instead. This increases burning durations applied by a passive effect of Virtual Skill 1. Virtual Skill 1 does cause burning. So you can increase the amount of damage you're dealing with the burning a little bit more, because at 5 seconds as 5.25 seconds instead of 4.25 seconds. So it gives you a little bit more damage. It's 703 versus 938. So it does increase it by about 220-ish. I'm going to go with this because I kind of like the passive effects of just being constant constantly going instead of having just using one skill on kind of almost like a cooldown. Then we have Zeal. Now, Zeal, when you sear a mystic symbol into the target area, damaging foes, granting resolution to allies. This causes vulnerability. Well, we're dealing damage as we shoot. Now, this symbol is actually a third skill on your weapon bar, and we're causing burning. So we're going to cause burning and vulnerability. So we're increasing your damage with our critical hits and everything, and then we're also going to cause vulnerability as well. And then we have Fiery Wrath, deal increased strike damage when you're burning foes. So on top of the fact that we're burning them, we're going to increase our damage output by 7% while they're burning, and all our abilities cause burning. So we're always going to have that almost 7% advantage bonus that we're going to have for that ability. Now, this is not one of the ones that is suggested to you. This is the one I suggest you do, which is Zeal. And then we have Symbols Inflict Vulnerability. That's the one we talked about before. Furious Focus. Well, you have Fury. Your attacks inflict vulnerability, so we're stacking vulnerability now. And we also get that from Symbolic Power is you deal increased strike damage. That's flat with the symbols. So this deals even more damage on the times 5. And so we're using this 5 times when increased damage. Yeah, that kind of stacks a little bit. Now, the last one you could do, you could go to Spirit Weapons. If you want to do Signets, then you want to go into Amplified Wrath instead. If you are going to use Signets instead of Spirit Weapons, then I suggest using Symbolic Avenger. Strike damage is increased even further whenever your symbols hit foes. And, of course, we're having that symbol, again, ignition of that, because we're doing the symbols as well. And then they can stack up to 5 times. And then we also have... where was the part about burning? Oh, and this is the Fury thing, because we're having Fury from up here for burning like that. So we're increasing our crits and like that on top of each other. So they kind of pairs well. And in this line, the reason why I went with Firebrand is basically just a virtue secondary build bar that you can switch to that still causes burning as well. I really didn't see any other... I mean, it was suggesting Willbender to you instead, but I didn't really like the skills from that. But this is what I recommend. So I'm recommending Radiance 122, Zeal 213, Firebrand 3, 3, and 2. Once again, the skill bars we have Receive the Light, which is more of my favorite healing skill. You can heal yourself and people around you. Purging Flames, you can remove a condition from allies and it causes a ring burning in front of you. Signet of Wrath increases all that condition burning, that damage that you're doing, and you can immobilize the target on an active use, so you can just hold them in place for a second if they're running. You can also revive a nearby down ally. That is extremely powerful. It's only a 135 recharge. It takes a long time to recharge. But it is nice in a pinch when you have an ally that gets downed. Now, you can switch this out again for maybe... like a Signet of Judgment instead, which is reducing the damage coming to you, and you cause burning when you activate it, so another way you can start burning things. But either way is fine. And then my signature ability is going to be the Signet of Courage. That's the ultimate ability, or primary ability, whatever I'm going to call it. The Signet passive is you periodically healing yourself and other allies because you're in range. You want to just constantly heal yourself as you're backed off. And when you activate it, you have a very, very big healing boom. And this kind of goes with the secondary build, which you use the number 2 tome. When you can turn yourself into a healer, so you could turn into yourself as a support role. Or if you want to do a secondary damage roll, if you want to do other kind of burning, weakness, increased might, burning and bleeding. So again, this kind of gives you that ability to kind of like increase various times burning and bleeding and stuff like that. So this increases that conditionary effect on a secondary ability in that 600 range, while your pistols do 900 range. You kind of get a little bit closer to that, but you kind of turn into more of a support role and have other skills up. So you can do this, switch over to your secondary tome, spam out those skills, switch back, you do pistols again, and kind of back and forth like that. Kind of like an Elementalist almost. All right. Well, that is the build for me for the new Guardian with the double pistols. I am Sabre Wolf. I hope you enjoyed and have a very good night. Bye-bye.